Hello, good sir.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Oh, happy Mother's Day
Thanks.
to nobody in the room. What was I gonna say? I don't know what
Today
I was
is
gonna
Mother's Day. I don't
say. It
know.
is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Not much going on. Oh, Man City won the Prem.
Yeah.
Woo.
Woo.
Yay, another year, another person gone. Yep. And Chelsea doing me proud by tying on their last day. So, classic Chelsea, doing great.
Yeah.
Loving
Still
life.
finished top 4 though.
Do what?
Still finished top 4 though.
Yeah. Yeah, so we get Champions League next year, which is good.
Yep. So, and we, because I support Arsenal, you support Chelsea. We're in the Europa League final. It's be fun. We plan on watching it together.
Not from lack of trying, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
y'all cut it close.
So hopefully we'll get to watch that together. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just getting some notes up.
Oh, okay.
So I was looking for some movie news to talk about this week, and there's not a lot of movie news.
Mhm.
But we can cover some of the stuff that I went over last week.
Yeah.
So just give me your impressions on the old Sonic trailer.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it's probably the same that everybody else has said. Like, terrible design.
Yeah.
Weird choice of song.
Yes.
Like, The Gangster's Paradise.
Every single time I see it, it makes me like just a little bit sick to my stomach. Every single time I hear that song, I'm like, what? And there's so many memes about it, and it's just like, oh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
The memes are good though.
Oh, the great memes.
Memes
That's
are
always
great.
good. That's always good.
How do you like Jim Carrey as what's the guy's name?
Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Robotnik.
Besides, like, they're obviously trying to go for, like, a certain demographic with their writing, it feels like. It's just not landing. Because, like, the guy says, the doctor thinks you're basic. Like, that was a line in the trailer.
Yeah. What demographic is that?
Like, our age, probably?
No fucking.
Yes.
I'm not laughing at that.
No, I'm saying that's what they're aiming for, but it's just falling.
Oh, I see.
It's falling flat.
Why is that our demographic?
I mean, does your mom call people basic?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we're that generation that grew up with Sonic.
It's like the worst version of the end of Into the Spider-Verse or
Hulk dabbing.
Hulk dabbing. It's like they don't quite understand the meme, right?
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, we're the generation that grew up with it and a couple years before us.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess that's who they're tailoring this movie for.
Yeah.
So.
But then Sonic looks ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Well, their writers
I don't understand
and
why
researchers are probably like in their mid-40s.
I think I've discussed this, right? Why is Sonic... Why are they trying to make it look realistic?
Right.
Just fucking make it a cartoon. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, there's been 3D Sonic games, and they don't look that bad, right? Why are we trying to make him furry? Like, he's never been furry. He's been this, like, plastic-looking,
smooth.
soft and smooth. It's like, I don't understand. I don't get it at all.
Right.
The fact that they're just going to change it is, like, that's not a good sign, my dude, because you can't change the writing, you can't change the budget. I mean, that final fight scene looks okay. It might not be the final fight scene, but the one on top of the building, if you just pause it and just look in the background, you're like, nothing about this looks realistic. It's clearly just in the middle of nowhere, right? Like Jim Carrey's just looking at 3 green walls and a blue dot, right? That's what's going on there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, because when I texted you about it, and I was like, hey, new Sonic trailer. And, like, I said something, I threw some disgusted emojis or something. And I told you that they were fixing it, supposedly. And you were like, they still ain't going to save it from the script.
Yeah, they could fix the look all they want. It's still, like, if he looked perfect, it would still be a shit trailer, a bad song choice, horrible writing. You know what I mean? Like, there's multiple parts in that movie I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, and it sucks because we just got, what's it called? We just got Endgame, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Detective Pikachu we'll talk about in a second, but we just got Endgame, which is like the peak, right? Like, that's pretty sweet.
It's the bar, basically.
Well, it's not. it kind of surpasses everything. Like nothing's gonna come close because nothing's tried that hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you at least hope that the movies coming out around it are halfway decent, and it's just like that's the next movie that becomes pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like everybody's making memes about it and everything. It's like, ugh, why, dude? We have the highest of the high and the lowest of the low at the exact same time, and the movie's not even out yet. But we all know it's gonna be one of them.
Oh, that reminds me.
2% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I wanted to look because I had in something for my. And you remember we did our predictions for the year?
Uh-huh.
Let's see. No, ain't that one. Oh, predictions. Here we go. I had flop of the year, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't I have it as the critically average movie of the year?
Maybe?
I believe I did.
I have Dark Phoenix as that, so.
We'll have to look.
Yeah.
We'll have to look. But, I thought you had me beat because Dark Phoenix has been taking a deep dive.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man.
Although I am wrong on this. I had Shazam as the worst movie of the year for us.
Wow.
That was way wrong.
Definitely wrong. But gladly.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm
Gladly wrong.
Yeah. What you looking for?
Nothing. Okay, so I was looking through movie news, and like I said, there's not much movie news this week. But the one thing I kept seeing was the Detective Pikachu writers are like, they're going nuts. They're like trying to stir up all this, what do you call it? All this love for the Pikachu franchise.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, the director and writer won't tell you if Ash Ketchum is in the Pikachu universe, and like there's so many spin-offs, and they want Jigglypuff to make a Star is Born style spin-off movie, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's not even that good, apparently. It's not
really?
It's not even that great, right? It may be a decent what do you call it?
Nostalgia?
Video game movie. It might be
one
of the best of those, but like when the Russos do this, or when people do this about Avengers, it's warranted, right? Like, we want to see more. It's like, maybe take a step back and make sure your movie's fucking good before you're like, we're gonna do this. Yep. Is Ash Ketchum in there? Ooh, we're gonna keep it secret. Like, who the fuck cares if your movie's not good? You know?
You already spoiled Mewtwo in there. So.
Exactly. Don't even get me started on that. That pissed me off. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, it seems, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, we'll probably see it. What, do you want to do, an episode next week on that?
Sure, why not? God, doesn't sound fun. But yeah, I don't know. But speaking of Avengers news, I was reading this to you just before we got in. I just wanted to talk about it real quick. So apparently, Anthony Russo said he's disappointed that the movie was so big in the box office. And you would think that's weird because you want your movie to be a success, right? Mm-hmm. But he said, and I quote, almost disappointed that the movie did so well because it's like the box office story is literally dominating the conversation and it's not an interesting part of the story. I think he's jaded there. Mm-hmm. I would say CNN, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, like all these fucking shitty journalisms, all they're talking about is the box office, right?
Yeah.
But when you go to the fan level, we're like, we want it to beat Avatar, but that's like the last thing we're talking about. We're like, oh, it's almost beating Avatar, and then we go right back to like theorizing future plots and like cool parts of the movie and everything. It's like none of the memes are talking about how they're beating all these. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're 90% Thor fat jokes or Captain America
or just some Thanos quote out of context.
Exactly, right? And it's like I think he's very, I think being that he is part of the corporate system, he sees that it's just being talked about like money wise, but on the fan level, which is obviously what he wants to.
Well, I can almost guarantee that's all his bosses care about. You think they really care about the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I think you go above Kevin Feige. Yeah, I think that's all they care about. Kevin cares, and I think Eric Perlmutter is just like pure money. He's just money. But I like what they're doing. I like what Kevin and the Russos and all the directors that they're getting. They're making movies for the fans, and the money will come. Yeah. Versus make a movie for the money, and the fans will like it. Yeah. That's kind of the backwards. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I don't know. I just think, based on us and people that I've talked to, I think the box office is not the last of our worries, but like it's not as talked about in the cells of nerds as it is the actual movie. Like we all pretty much love the movie. There may be some plot points we don't particularly love if you're like super duper deconstructing every little second, which all time travel movies have those problems, you know?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about that.
True.
Not that he's going to hear this, but I wouldn't worry about that. What else am I going to talk about?
Oh yeah, well, as we're saying this, is like 2.5 billion, by the way.
Yeah, so it's basically there.
Yeah.
Yep. What level? Oh my god. See, the Detective Pikachu shit is just off the charts, man. It's just so dumb. What level is Detective Pikachu? Turns out he doesn't have one. Who the fuck cares?
The
Pokemon level. It's probably because he beats Charizard in that scene. And people are probably like, why the hell did he beat Charizard? He'd have to be a crazy high level.
Well, I mean...
And Charizard has to be at least 34 to evolve twice.
That was literally the words I was about to say. He has to be at least 34.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. You got anything else you want to talk about movie news-wise?
I don't think so. Well, I will talk more in depth, but we got this Far From Home trailer.
Oh, yeah.
A new one.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which, spoiler alert, for all things, basically.
Endgame
and Far From Home, probably.
Yeah.
Because they kind of framed the first trailer as Mysterio's this middle ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, he could be a hero, but he may have made the villains so that he could look like a hero. But this one looks like he's just full-blown a hero.
I don't think so.
No?
I still think he's a bad guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Because I've seen some articles today that said like Mysterio being a hero in Spider-Man Far From Home is not a like a what do you call it? A departure from the comics. That's the word I was looking for.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, and the other thing I think about that is right. They're building.
Mm-hmm.
They're either doing one or two things. They're either winding down, or they're building for a new slate of stuff to come.
Mm-hmm.
Which, based on the success of Endgame and Disney as a whole, they're gonna keep making these until they go shit, right?
Yeah.
So, why would you get someone as high level and high cred as
Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal and not use him, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, do you want him to just be a villain the whole time?
Well, see, I think when you say villain, you're thinking of like you're gonna kill people and go rob a bank, stuff like that.
Not necessarily.
I think it's more of, well, not you, but I think most people.
People, yeah.
I think he's doing it for his best interest.
Okay.
Like I've heard theories potentially like he got snapped and his like wife didn't potentially, and she moved on, and when he came back, like he was very upset, so he pretends to be this hero, like to not just get his wife back, but for his own deed and stuff. His own ego, where it's not necessarily like try to take over the world or anything. He's just doing it for bad reasons.
That's interesting.
That's a theory I heard.
Yeah.
About that. I don't even know if he has a wife.
The snap thing I hadn't thought about. I've only thought about the snap thing in Spider-Man's perspective, right? And Fury, right? But I haven't thought of the snap in his perspective. Like, I guess from here on out, like that could be the plot point for a solid amount of stuff, right?
People trying to get back to living. Because if you think about it, like potentially, like if you get snapped, but your wife doesn't, and your wife moves on, and then 5 years later you're back.
That's awkward.
And your wife's like got a new family and everything, you know. And he just comes back and he doesn't know what to do. So.
And the other reason I said spoilers is because it's basically been confirmed that the villains / things are elementals without a doubt, which is kind of like I don't know. And I've seen some other stuff. I was just searching. I won't say anything because I didn't want to know it, and now I know it. But it's just like people need to slow down with these damn deciphering everything.
Yeah. Some people live from that though. trying to figure everything out.
But I liked how Endgame was like so cryptic. Like they just showed some weird shit. Why can't they do that with all their trailers? Or we're gonna go see the damn movie.
It's completely 180 though, because the trailers now show Cap picking up Mjolnir. By the way,
what?
Yeah, the trailers show that now.
What?
Reason I was gone.
Why would you put out a trailer with that in it? Are you saying people are like, nah, I ain't going to see that shit, and they see Cap pick up the fucking hammer? And that's never mind, I'm going. I'm exactly. Like, no, you got to sit down for 2.5 hours to see that.
Yeah, because I was out of town this last week for work, and I was watching the NBA finals.
Okay.
Playoff game, and during a commercial, it was the Avengers and stuff, and it showed Captain America catching Mjolnir.
What?
And it also showed him saying a symbol.
What? No wonder people are using those for memes. I was like, how the fuck they get this footage?
Right.
Did they record it? Or
as soon as the movie came out, or like the 2 weeks after, and they said you can spoil it. They were just like, show them the good stuff in the trailers. So it was cryptic up to release, and then 2 weeks after, and then after that, now it's just like
very conflicted right now.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I was like, why would they show that? That's like the.
Well, I highly doubt that's a
a Marvel
above Kevin Feige shit right there. They're like, that'll get more people in seats. I'm like, you've got the people in seats, dog.
Yep, that's true.
You know,
mm-hmm.
Does that box office thing that we keep looking at, is that only movie theaters, or does that count DVD sales after?
I can look, but it does it breaks everything down. Let's see. So it's like rank, title, studio. Worldwide, domestic percentage, overseas percentage, and year.
That's all box office.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering if the 2.7 million in Avatar counts as DVD sales as well. Because sometimes movies make their money back.
Well, the thing is, it's got 2 asterisks up top, and instead of it's pink, like highlighted in pink, it says official revisions of older movies, or if it's gold, it's now playing or recent movies. So like Avengers Endgame and Captain Marvel are highlighted yellow because they're technically
Captain Marvel's still in theaters?
Some
or weird current, offshoot.
It says or recent movies. Within the last whatever.
Huh. Man, I don't get that. I don't know who isn't going to see it, right? That's going to get them in.
Right, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people that didn't go see it in the first week because it's the first week. I think there's a lot of people that didn't go see it in the second week because I know this is like weird, but it was finals week for millions of college kids across the United States, and if they're not super diehard fans, like I know 2 that I was like, we were sitting there talking about Avengers, and they were like, hey, and I was like, what? And they're like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, dude, it's been 2 weeks. If you're like a fan, you need to go see that shit. And he was like, I got finals. And I was like, you mean to tell me you're spending every waking hour? Oh, and then they get worse grades than me, so I don't want to talk about dedication. I was talking about poor use of timing.
Yeah, that's just laziness.
It's either laziness or just really shitty studying habits. Like you're just bad at it. You know what I mean? But yeah, so there's that subset of people too. But I feel like that would piss them off, right? Now it's like, okay, they've gone the 2 weeks, they finished their finals, and then they watch the NBA finals because they want to see it, and they're like, fuck, dude. Yeah. Everything. They haven't shown that yet, have they?
What's that?
That. Okay, this episode is pretty much spoilers from here on out, if you really don't want to know. Have they showed Cap dying yet? Or Iron Man. Okay, good. If they showed him, like, I'd be like, oh my god, seriously?
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Or,
I don't think so.
Or I wonder if there's any shots of him, like, half burned face with pepper.
No.
So they show the assemble scene, right?
It just says, it's just, like, it's him talking, it says Avengers, and it's some other scene, but then it cuts to him right when he's about to say it, and then it shows him say assemble with the exact scene. With all the, what's it called?
Do you see the thing where they lined up the assemble of Civil War and this, and the score is exactly the same, and the timing's exactly the same, and everything? It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see
a lot of things, like with the snap?
Yeah, did you see the other one? But that one was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was like, they need to line up the beginning of Endgame with that because they left that part out. You know what I'm talking about?
The beginning of Endgame?
With Clint's kids.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another movie, too. I can't remember.
Ant-Man and the Wasp?
No, that was in there.
Uh-huh.
It had Infinity War. It had the post-credit scene. It had all the people in Infinity War. People, you know what I mean? It had Ant-Man and the Wasp. And then it had Thanos, like, on his garden island, like, all lined up together. But there was, like, another... Can't remember who got dusted. I can't.
Was it Sam L. Jackson?
No, that was in there, too.
Oh, okay.
When I saw it, I was like, whoa, I didn't even think of that. The Clint one was good. Because I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a shitty first part of the movie. What's it called? Oh, the other thing I saw. Are we transitioning to full on in-game talk? Pretty much. I mean,
we're just winging this episode.
What'd you say?
We're just winging.
We really are. We don't have a list or anything. We're just getting into the swing.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting, I guess
into
we could have done Detective Pikachu if we wanted to, but that come out Thursday. May 10th?
May 9th, I thought. That was Thursday.
Thursday, yeah. We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything better coming out. Ooh.
I'm pretty sure there was like a ban on it for talking about it anyway, so.
Godzilla's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah. Isn't there another movie?
I'll check while I'm talking. But I wanted to talk about there was a really cool thing I saw. I can't take any credit for it, but it was quotes. That I don't know if they happen in Infinity War or in this one, but one of them was for Tony, and it was Cap telling Tony, "You're not the sacrifice type.
You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play."
That's the exact quote. Thank you, Mr. Encyclopedia.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. I noticed that because you did a great job while I was gone last week. Just saying.
Thank you.
And I noticed, I was like, I think that's why we work so well. We fill each other in on things that we don't know a lot. You know, so like I noticed a couple times when you're talking about Endgame and stuff, like if you got a year wrong or something, I would have been here like, nope.
Yeah. And when you're doing it alone, you're less worried about semantics and more worried about just being cohesive, right?
Yep.
Like, you ever see YouTube videos where people just roll right through and they put like a thing on a screen, like I meant to say this? I totally get that now. Like it's you just kind of have to, you're just rolling, right? And so, and this is like a lot, like quick. I'm not gonna go back and edit in the right thing, so this is kind of happening. But yeah, I get what you're saying. That's why we like bounce off.
Yeah.
What was I? Oh, okay, that quote, right? And then the other one was for Cap, and it was
it says, say it?
Yeah, please, if you could.
It says everything special about you came out of a test tube, basically. You were created in a lab.
Bottle. Yeah. And it was Cap holding the hammer and Tony snapping, right? I find that incredibly interesting because basically what it's saying is for Cap is like what makes him special is not what came in the bottle. You know what I mean? It's the gusto and the never give up spirit and drive and pure honor and worthiness that he had prior to being Cap.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, remember, because before he got the super soldier serum, he jumped on that fake grenade, not knowing.
Yep.
You know, so he's always been worthy.
He's also been smart. Remember the flagpole? So, yeah, and it's just like, it's funny because those two characters are kind of the opposite of each other. But they have the same goal. And as the years go on, they sort of become more alike each other. Not exactly. Cap doesn't become arrogant and everything like that, but he becomes more willing to do what he needs to do to save everybody. Whereas, he doesn't want government interference and all this, you know what I mean? But then he realizes, wait, maybe I was wrong. Maybe we do need a higher order of protection because there's crazy shit out there.
Yeah.
You know? And then for Tony, it's like, maybe I should be less arrogant and more less self-centered, and more selfish. Like,
what did his dad say in Endgame? Howard Stark was like the needs of the greater good barely outweigh my own, or whatever like that. Which is how Tony was for a long time.
Yes.
You know.
Well, I mean, you go back and watch Iron Man, right? I forget. There's a line in there. He says, he's basically like, just he's selling weapons, and he's like, I've always learned that the guy with the bigger stick always wins, or it's like, and then you go back and it's Thanos has the bigger stick. Okay,
Yeah.
not to be metaphorical here, but like Thanos has his number.
Yeah.
And he has to realize that, oh wow, I've never been in this position. I've never been the lower, the least powerful, the least prepared, the least funded, I guess, for that matter, because Thanos kind of surpasses money in that regard. He's infinitely funded, wealthy for not monetary reasons, but for power and resources, whereas Tony can't possibly ever reach that because he's not a god from space, basically. So he has to learn that, and I thought that was really cool, and it's one of those deeper layers that's in the movie that's been set up for fucking 10 years, which is impressive, And I think when I saw that, it started making me think about Marvel and DC, right? And DC's doing well; they're improving, but I think the idea of Marvel being better at this stuff is not only because of Kevin Feige and the people, the writers and the directors and everything that connected all this and everything. It almost boils back down to like the Stan Lee level, It's his characters are more characters that people can relate to,
like Spider-Man, for instance.
Well,
like
Spider-Man's have you ever been a nervous high school kid that doesn't exactly fit in? You know what I mean?
Or now, I would say more awkward, but yeah.
Awkward, Have you ever, are you noble but small and can't, defend yourself but will never give up?
Yep.
And you always get beat down and told you're not good enough, Are you...
Were you told baseball isn't for girls?
Exactly.
I broke them.
You really killed my thing there. I had a lot more. And then like Tony, okay, a good comparison is Tony and Batman. Okay, they're basically the same, but there's a human element in Tony that it doesn't exist in Batman that humans can relate with, right? Tony is arrogant, he's full of himself, he's larger than life, right? But he has his demons, In the comics, he drinks a lot, which a lot of people can relate with, and in the movies, he thinks too highly of himself, and it gets himself in trouble.
Yeah.
He thinks he can fix everything with his mind and his power, and he learned throughout the 10 years that that's the opposite, and he has PTSD. That's another thing that people can relate with, and like working through that, and having kids one day, that's another thing. It's like Batman.
Yeah. He's just always
he's just
alone.
Rich, right?
Yeah.
He's super rich. He's incredibly fit, like to the point that he can knock out people with one punch. He's his alter ego is a billionaire playboy, right? That he has to put on. Like that's the most interesting thing about Batman is the persona is not Batman, it's Bruce Wayne. But nobody can relate with that. No one's secretly a mass vigilante, right? And then every single day they have to put on this mask. No one can relate with that, but people can relate with making mistakes because of their arrogance.
Yeah, like even with him being super rich, you can still find relation.
Exactly. That's why I'm comparing those two, is because they're the same, and they're both like larger than life, something most people can never achieve.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman's like crazy out there, right? And then Iron Man's even further out there because he's so freaking smart. He built an engine at 12, or like you can't reach that. But the human parts of him are much more achievable than Batman's.
Yeah.
And this goes deeper. Every single character you can kind of get in there and think about that. Like T'Challa, like all he wanted to do is make his father proud, and he couldn't save him when he needed to, and so he went out for revenge, when realistically he let that cloud his judgment. And all these things we've experienced in life is like when you just go full force at somebody for no reason, and then you go back to DC, and it's like, who can you relate with in DC? You can't even relate with the most ground level characters like the Flash and Cyborg. You know what I mean? It's like they need to get those character moments right, and then they can put on the spectacle.
Yeah. Well, also I don't think you have to relate to a character just to like them.
Absolutely not.
Or be turned off by him.
I don't relate to a lot of characters in the Marvel universe, I really don't relate to Tony or anything like that, but I still like their characters.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people will not like them because it doesn't represent them or anything like that, but yeah, that's not like the whole purpose of characters like that.
For example, I like Wonder Woman. I don't relate to her. And I think her human character traits are god-awful. You can't relate to anything about her. Nothing. She's an Amazonian god, right?
Yes.
Who fell in love with the most beautiful man on the planet. It's like, what? I can't relate to any of this shit. She's got everything,
Yeah.
I guess it's more of like a role model at that point. Whereas Marvel's more willing to
powerful woman, yeah.
And Marvel's more willing to like go deep and be like, yeah, these people are flawed as well. Whereas DC is, some of their characters are just perfect. They're just perfect. It's like, Superman had to kill one guy to.
Yeah, I was like Captain America. His thing is like he's the best of every person, sort of thing. Is what they kind of tried making him. Like he would be the model of a best person. Possible.
Exactly.
And that's everything stands for.
They went and found the personality and moral traits first, right? Like the loving everyone and trying to be the best person he can be, and noble and selfless and everything. And then they gave him the other side, the physical, the mental, the everything.
Yep. Come to think of it, Batman's pretty overpowered.
What about Batman's overpowered?
Well, I mean, just the fact that he can beat anybody with preparation. Like that's his big thing.
Like he beat Superman.
Yeah.
Twice. He had Superman dead in Batman vs Superman without a doubt.
Yeah.
The dude was dead.
Yeah. I'm not even talking about movies, but just like in the comics, TV shows, all that. He's always been like, the man without fear,
Exactly.
Like it's very unrealistic, honestly.
It is. That's what's interesting about the Marvel universe is their characters get beat a lot. They don't particularly win every single time. Or if they do win, it's not a perfect closure. Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
A quick thought I thought of whenever we were talking about Batman.
But Shazam, I think, is the alternative to that. Like they're starting to get that sort of character development that we've seen in the Marvel universe for decades. They're starting to get there, which is good. Yeah. Because now that Marvel is moving on, I would like to see DC kind of, they're like, they know that there's going to be a lull.
Well,
unless they just
window.
keep soaring to the heavens, right? Which would be amazing, but it would be cool to see DC like you said, see this window and take off. Which actually, I just saw an article that Jason Momoa has been talking with the director of Aquaman 2, and the story is set and ready to go. So maybe they'll fast track that, because if Jason seems excited about it, and the director
he actually seems genuinely interested in what he's doing.
Him and Gal are like the only two.
Well, and Zachary Levi.
True. Dude, he would.
Yeah,
he'll show up.
That did remind me. Some DC news.
Yeah,
Idris Elba is cast. I'm pretty sure as Deadshot, not Deadshot. Deathstroke. Deathstroke.
Hell yes.
In the Suicide Squad too.
Hell yes. Dude, I could see him just plowing through people. How Deathstroke is just he's like a physical match for Batman almost.
Yeah.
Just going hand to hand and just running across rooftops and everything. Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. So it's James Gunn. So
is he gonna be the villain?
I don't know.
Or is he just kind of like a Deathstroke type where he's just kind of in between?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really see him being in the Suicide Squad.
No.
I think he's too good of a villain for that.
Well, didn't they use the Suicide Squad to get Deathstroke in the multiverse Green Arrow?
Get as in recruit
No,
or
to beat
capture?
Him. To beat him.
Oh, maybe. I can't remember.
I'm trying to think. That was like the last season I watched, but I'm pretty sure there were like Slade. There was a Slade episode where they fought Deathstroke as the Suicide Squad, and it was
In what, Arrow?
Deadshot. Yeah, Arrow.
Okay.
It was Deadshot, their version of like
Captain Boomerang, probably.
Yeah, all the other characters.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. I'm excited about that though.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yes.
All right, back to in-game stuff. I have some things that I've heard on other podcasts and other people have talked to me about some stuff, and I don't know if you wanted to comment on anything I said last week, like the time whirly-dirly problems.
Yeah. I have one interesting theory.
Yes.
About like repercussions of it. Hello, Kitty.
Hello, Kitty. What about it?
Well, do you just want me to go into it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so with Cap,
Yes.
when he jumped back,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole crap about him messing up a timeline or whatever.
Yes.
And it's part of the reason he gave the shield to Anthony Mackie. Was it Sam Wilson?
There you go.
So, instead of Bucky.
Ooh. Okay.
So-
I like where this is going.
Right. So I think when he went back in time, he had the shield and everything, but he was Captain America from like normal time he would be if he didn't get frozen.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time, he formed an Avengers group of his own,
Okay.
and he found Bucky back then before the Winter Soldier stuff,
Okay.
and he gave him the shield then. Like back in the 60s or 70s, he gave Bucky the shield.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And formed his own Avengers group then.
So what do you
back in the day.
Okay, so what do you think about Bucky knowing that Cap wasn't going to come back?
I think he knew.
Oh, he does. I mean, the Russos have talked about that. They've already said
Bucky
that
knew.
the reason Bucky let Sam go talk to him first is because he knew that he wasn't coming back. That's also why when everyone's freaking out and Sam is like, "Bring him back," he's what's his face is just sitting there. Like, I wonder if he's going to come back at all. And then he turns and goes, "Hey, there he is."
Yeah. So and also
so that would make sense, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure because I've seen it 3 times now,
Yes.
and the third time watching, I was really like paying attention to
Yeah.
that, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he knew because everything he said to him was like kind of like a fake goodbye in a way.
Yeah, like you're taking all the stupid with you, and
Well, yeah, that's word for word from Captain America, by the way.
yeah.
But he, everything he said's like, taking all the stupid with you. Yeah, he's like, I don't know if he's trying to put up a front that he knew that he was going. You know what I'm saying?
He's like very nonchalant about it.
He
Yeah.
knows it's not like it's what's best for Cap or whatever. So
Whereas Anthony and Hulk are like very worried. Sam and Hulk are like very worried that he's make sure you put them all back where you got them and da 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 and all that. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get to see that?
I think so, and also that could be a way to introduce X-Men or Fantastic Four into the Avengers from
How do you
year.
figure that?
Well, the X-Men are from that era.
True.
Because because the Holocaust is where Magneto got his powers.
You're right, dude. I can't even keep track of that shit because now Magneto is a middle-aged man in the middle of what looks like
2000s, I would
current
say.
time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like, we'll just say, when did the first X-Men movie come out?
Shit, 2004,
Okay.
2006.
So that means in 2004, Magneto was an old man. And then Dark Phoenix, like, there's no way that's past 2000.
But then they did the whole time shit that I don't think we even really know about. And I'm sure there's some scholars out there that love the X-Men movies that know exactly the timeline and are like, oh, excuse me, Michael Fassbender is a reborn, time jumped version of Magneto, and that's why all the characters are younger. Which I'm pretty sure is what happened. They did Days of Future Past, and it messed up the timeline, and then Apocalypse happened, and I don't. Who fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Let's stop talking about X-Men. I think they're gonna go the Fantastic Four version before they go X-Men.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, probably.
It's just the better move, because there are X-Men fans. Okay, so because their movies are decent, whereas Fantastic Fours are dog shit. I mean, dog shit, dude. I watched a video today, not today, sometime last week. It was like, why Fantastic Four is so bad. And, dude, I was like, it was a 14-minute long video, and I was like, resident sleeper. I was like, just watching clips of this movie reminds me of how bad it was. So, the chance of success, if you make a mediocre Fantastic Four movie, it's better than anything that's ever come out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't make mediocre movies. So if they make let's say they make an Ant-Man, right? Like that level,
Mm-hmm.
Thor the Dark World, something like that, it will immediately improve the Fantastic Four franchise.
You're right.
And it's like, whereas X-Men, you know, they'd be like, I don't like this new direction of the X-Men, just people going nuts on forums and everything and talking crap and boycotting movies, and you just don't want to go down that road,
right.
Especially since Dark Phoenix is literally coming out like right now.
Yeah.
So that's not cool. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that was my theory.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about the Thanos coming back? You remember with the Nebula? So she uses one of the Pym particles to get back. So how the hell does Thanos get through the portal?
Oh, well, because it was 2014. And so he had like 7 years to
figure out
copy
a way.
Yeah, to copy it.
Okay.
Technically, he had
And
7 years.
That's if it's not implied that, like, the other thought I had is, what if you could just take a Pym particle and use it in the machine and then boot up that thing and
Right.
drag somebody from a certain time?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Because Nebula had her wrist thing, and maybe that's
And
how she got
they have plenty of Pym particles. They grabbed enough from, what's it called?
Pym.
From Pym's lab.
Yeah, because he grabbed 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you only need 2 to get back, and then you have 2 just sitting there, right?
I think so. Unless the other 2 went to Ant-Man and Hulk. Like they had to go back to 2012 New York and then back to present time.
Why would they go back to 2012 New York?
I don't know if it was like a pit stop sort of thing. Like they came here, but then they had to do a detour and then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get what you're saying. That would explain why they got 4, but I don't. It kind of feels like a,
Yeah.
Maybe they had to go back there to tell them like, okay, we're ready to go back as a group.
Yeah, I don't, because they didn't.
They didn't explain
have to. Like, it's not a
But
big
she
deal.
clearly hands it to Thanos, and Thanos clearly takes it, and then she uses that to get back. So that would imply that Thanos, sampled some, learned how to make it. I mean, it probably wouldn't be that hard for him.
Mm-mm.
It's Earth-based science, so not that.
Yeah, exactly.
And he has endless resources, like we just mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I have some other things for you. Some people have been talking about how they're just holding the stones.
Oh, just in their hand?
Yeah. Some people have a problem with that.
Okay.
But when you think about it, what is the only stone that, like, holding it has done anything?
The power?
Exactly. And they get the power in the little orb, right? And then they bring that orb to Tony, and Tony uses, like, they have that specific thing. Whereas the Soul Stone, we've seen Thanos hold it.
Hawkeye.
Which Thanos is a different
Hawkeye
level.
held it.
But Thanos is a different level being, right?
Yeah, he can hold it. No problem.
And so that implies that the Soul Stone doesn't hurt you when you hold it. Like, it doesn't, it
Well,
doesn't.
then it is power, so.
Exactly, right? And
Like, that's raw power is technically what it is.
And then the ether's interesting, but the ether gets put into a vial that Rocket holds.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, because the ether goes into Natalie Portman. So Rocket just takes it out, and then he's got that, and they're all good in that regard, right? So what else is left?
The space and time.
The space, the people, thousands of people have held the damn Tesseract. I mean, it's held back in 1970 when they get it. In Captain Marvel, it's held by hundreds of people, right? It's not that big a deal.
In time, people just eat.
Yeah, time comes out of the Eye of Agamotto, so it doesn't really matter.
Easily, yeah.
And then what's the other one? The Mind Stone is in the scepter, so he doesn't have to hold that if that does anything to you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone
Plus,
besides
he's
Thanos
Cap,
has held
so
it.
like he can hold anything. Fuck it. He could hold the Power Stone if he wanted to.
Yeah.
He could just grab that shit. Bro, I would have let Cap done the snap. I think he could survive that. Low key.
What? Do you think it would have been overpowered though?
Well, here, let's put it this
If he
way.
didn't?
Yeah, it's definitely overpowered, and it's much more thematically interesting
For
to have
Man.
Iron Man do it, and Captain America was preoccupied, right? So it's, and you know, Cap was in the area while it's going on. But who do you think? I want to run this. Who do you think is the strongest Avenger? Just right off the top of your head, go.
Strongest?
Yes.
Thor.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You still think Thor's stronger than Cap? Seriously?
Captain Marvel?
No.
Or Captain
no,
Karen?
fuck Captain Marvel.
Captain
if she
Karen?
can get beat, Captain America.
I think he's stronger.
Okay. I would say Captain America is the strongest. I don't think he's there yet, but I think given his full potential, he could be stronger than.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll never get to see
Exactly.
Primo Cap. Actually, we might if my theory is true.
Did he fly? Did Captain America fly?
Well, he threw the hammer and yeeted off with it.
He definitely did, right? I saw a bunch of people being like, "Why didn't Cap fly with the hammer?" He fucking definitely did. He definitely did. He's definitely not as comfortable with it as Thor. He's not.
But
He's
the
not
thing is-
zipping around the battlefield, but he definitely like
I feel like
threw it and followed it.
I feel like at first, I don't even think Thor could. I think that's something he had to unlock.
It's a brand new weapon. It's not like you're gonna know how to use it on. And I love the fact that he like summons lightning. People have had a problem with that as well. They're like, oh, why can Cap summon lightning when Thor is the god of lightning and da da da.
He's got
It's like,
thunder, not lightning. Not going to you, but
True.
So technically, he shouldn't be.
well, we learn in Thor Ragnarok that the lightning is not because of the hammer.
Right.
It's the hammer is not the only reason he can summon lightning. Let me say it that way.
Yep.
So
What are you, the god of hammers?
So the hammer, the hammer has lightning summoning abilities. That is clear, because if not, then Thor wouldn't have been able to summon lightning this whole damn time, because we learn in Ragnarok that he has to channel it within himself to bring it, right?
It's just a tool of harvesting. In a
so
way.
it makes it easier for him. So no wonder Cap can just be like fucking.
I mean, technically, the gauntlet's the same way. It's just a way to harness the stone's power.
Stones, right?
Yeah.
So, like I'm saying, so Thor learns that he can harness it without the. That's what makes him a god. That's what makes him special, right? Amongst other things. But that's what makes him powerful, really, really powerful, is he doesn't need Mjolnir to be that strong. But Cap kind of needs Mjolnir. He's not going to be summoning lightning with his hands. You know, he's no Raiden. So, yeah, I think that's more interesting, that it's just Mjolnir's a tool to summon lightning. So, yeah, he's seen Thor use it for, 10 years now? He knows if he goes like this, it's probably going to start some damn lightning. Sorry, I stuck my hand up there. What's it called? Hulk glasses. So
Why does he need glasses? Is that what you're gonna?
So Banner never wears glasses, except for there's one scene in Avengers where whenever he's being super smart, he has glasses on, right?
I feel like he wears them most of the time. Sure. I feel like in Ragnarok he didn't.
In Ragnarok, he gets handed glasses and he says, "No, those are Tony's," or something like that. And no, I don't think he normally wears glasses, but I saw
think he does.
People. I don't think he.
I'm pretty sure in like Age of Ultron, I remember him always wearing
Hold on,
glasses.
Let me
And-
Google Bruce Banner.
In
See if,
in the first Avengers, he takes them off right before he turns into the Hulk.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So sometimes he has them on, and sometimes he doesn't. So
Are you saying like
lately,
you think the Hulk should not have to wear glasses?
No, I disagree completely with this theory, but people are like kind of pissed off that why they think they gave the Hulk glasses because they need to show that the Hulk is smart now. And I'm
I
like,
understand that.
I don't think that's true though. I think it's a really subtle nod that like so back in the beginning he wore glasses because I don't know, as part of his character, like he liked glasses, and then he got contacts. So when he turns into the Hulk, no one's selling giant fucking contacts for Hulk's eyes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why he has glasses.
Yeah.
He had to make himself some custom glasses. And it's clear Banner can't see. You know, it's like he either wears glasses when he's doing like hardcore scientific, which by the way, this whole movie, that's what he's doing. So yes, he would need glasses that whole time.
Yeah.
But more importantly, did you notice how what's it called? Scott Lang gives the Hulk something. In Infinity War. Forget what he does. He gives the Hulk something, and then the Hulk gives him the top.
Who? Ant-Man?
Yeah.
Ant-Man wasn't
what?
You're thinking of the Coca-Cola commercial.
Am I really?
Yeah.
He gives him a Coke?
He opens the Coke because it's a Coke Mini. And
yes,
the Hulk can't open
that's it. Thank you. And then they repay that with the Hulk
Give him
giving
tacos.
See, this is why I need you. I got too much rattling around. Okay. What else?
Oh, the Hulk. Oh, talk about him. Do you think they nerfed him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely just... Well, I think they nerfed him, but they already showed that his old self, I mean, the one that's been fighting in Ragnarok in the fighting pits of wherever that planet was called again. If you know this, I'll literally... Okay, good. I was like, man, I'm a dummy if I don't know that. You're just like... He couldn't even do anything to Thanos, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the fact that they kind of nerfed him in this and didn't make him as powerful is not that big a deal because he's already been shown to get his ass kicked by Thanos. But then, so they nerf him, but then they immediately show that he's pretty damn powerful because he can handle the snap without dying, which Iron Man can't do, right? Because he's just a human, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking of that because Thanos basically beats some like sense into him. He beats him up as Hulk and Hulkbuster, and then he becomes Professor Hulk. So he becomes like Smart Hulk, just because Thanos beat him up.
So you think that's why he became Smart Hulk?
I think so.
Is because the Hulk sees that Banner's just getting his ass kicked left and right, or Hulk got his ass kicked, and that's why he wouldn't come out because he's like, oh
Thanos beating him so badly made him like rethink everything. Yeah. Because Hulk's always like, I can beat this with just
brute strength.
Yeah. And then Banner's always like science. So, and then Thanos comes along and just has them rethinking their whole duality.
That's one of the greatest scenes when they land in 2012. Right. I got that right. Yes. And he's like, rah! He just hits a car
and just softly tosses a bike. Yeah.
So good. Oh man.
Do you have other theories or something you want?
I do. I have another thing. Have you seen the latest like Easter egg that a bunch of people missed? That Scarlett Johansson's or Black Widow's blood is in Infinity War when Gamora gets thrown off.
I think I've seen theories about that.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it being hers.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
I think if that's true, that's amazing. I gotta see if it lines up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that's smart as hell, and it makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. Because
it happened before.
Yeah, because they go back to 2014.
Yes, good job.
Nice. They go back to 2014, and then her and Clint ride the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, we're not in Kansas anymore. I mean, Budapest anymore. Also, the minute I turned to you in the movie, but you weren't watching, I just went, oh, they're both dead. One of them's dead. Something's dead. Because I was like, wait a minute. They got to sacrifice one of them, don't they? Yep. I've also seen a lot of people say they would love to see the conversation between Cap and Skull.
Oh, and
when he takes that back.
Yes.
The taking the stones back thing is really funny if you break it down and think about it. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Cause
he's got to return Mjolnir as well.
Yeah, that's going to be awkward. I mean, realistically, he could just throw Mjolnir anywhere.
That's true.
And Thor's going to be like, where the hell's my hammer?
Would it have to be in that year, you think?
Yeah, yes. I mean, he has to go back regardless to put the ether back in Natalie Portman, by the way. He's got to re-inject it in her. Cuz what's he going to do? Lay it on a table?
Or like a thumbtack on a chair and have her sit on it?
No, I mean like just lay the ether on a table. It's like that would fuck up that whole timeline. Cuz the whole timeline is about getting the ether out of Natalie Portman.
The exact moment they were taken.
Exactly. So, he's got to shove it back in her, which is going to be awkward. And then and then he could just throw the hammer somewhere.
Yeah, as long
which
as
I highly doubt he did. I'm sure he took it to Thor and was like, "Hey."
Because they know each other at this point.
They do. I wonder if...
But just imagine Thor is just walking looking for Mjolnir, and then Cap just walks up like here.
Hands it to him?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense, though, because that would mean in Age of Ultron he'd already know. You know when he moves it?
But still, like, Thor's just walking around the palace looking for Mjolnir, and then Steve Rogers is just like, here, Thor. It don't matter when it was, because he can hold it.
He'd be like, oh, no, I know what you mean. I'm saying... But that Thor...
Oh, he didn't know yet. Yeah.
Later becomes the Age of Ultron Thor, right? Mm-hmm. So he wouldn't be...
He was skeptical that Steve could almost lift it, yeah.
Yeah, he would know. He'd be like, oh, shit, no, he really can. He'd definitely be like, no, Steve, you stay sitting down. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I guess... I don't know how... Dude, getting into the time whirly-dirly stuff is dangerous.
How do you think...
That's funny.
How do you think the time travel stuff in this compared to other time travel movies?
I think other time travel movies do it, and it's like hokey. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of annoying, but in this one, it's like they
explain it a little.
They just don't. But that's the thing. They didn't explain it that much, and they just did it.
Yeah,
and they stayed true to what they said.
What I'm referring to is they said just because you go back in time doesn't change your future. It's your present becomes your past, and then that past becomes your future.
I like that.
Which makes sense because, like, if it was a blocked time slot, like, this block right here is your present. Mm-hmm. And then that becomes... And then you go back in time. Mm-hmm. And then anything after that is your future. And that future... Or, yeah, you get what I'm saying?
You confuse yourself.
Yeah, I did right there. I said something.
I think it makes more sense than, like, the Back to the Future style where, like, you know, if something happens in the past, then it completely alters the future. Mm-hmm. You remember when Marty just disappears because his parents don't exist anymore? It's like that stuff is kind of dangerous. Like they said, like, just can we go back and, you know, when Thanos is a baby and choke him? It's like
yeah, it doesn't change your future. Well, it's like the age-old thing. Like if you go back time and kill baby Hitler, you know.
Then I think that's a horrible idea. Because if Hitler didn't exist, then what would have happened?
Something else would have happened, yeah.
Exactly.
Or someone else would have done it, or
it's the world. You'd come back, the world would not be the world that we're in today. Mm-hmm. It might be, right? But it probably wouldn't be, because you know there's so many things that would happen. Like for example, if they go back and kill Thanos, right? Then Xandar's never destroyed, and Peter Quill never runs into the power gem, and like all these things happen, you know, and like this tumbling effect of just like. So basically, if you go back and kill Thanos, then the whole MCU doesn't get together and nothing really happens, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like the Avengers are just fighting Avengers stuff on Earth, and it's just boring. It's like I like the fact that they're like, nope, we got to put it all back. We're just borrowing it, you know what I mean? We can't just... I also like that they're like, we can't just save everybody. I think they did a really good job with that, because if you just do the time thing, right? If you do the time warp again... If you do the time thing and you just save everybody, that's not fun.
Yeah.
If Black Widow comes back and her sacrifice was, you know, a 2-hour thing that's has no consequences. Yeah. Like Agent Coleman. I think they learned the lesson with that, you know?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Russos came out and said, like, the consequences of the Soul Stone are irreversible.
Absolutely. I think she's in the Soul Stone. Her and Gamora, her and 2018 Gamora are whatever are just stuck in there, dude. Mm-hmm. And however other many people have been sacrificed to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
By the way, how does it end up back? I think has it just been sitting on Vormir forever?
Well, whenever Natasha did die, like the mountain started sparking and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then it teleported him to the bottom of the mountain, basically.
In the water or whatever.
Yeah.
So like when Cap brings it back, does
Well, I think it's got like a.
does Red Skull just kind of like put it back into its little, or does it float off into nowhere to be hidden again for others to sacrifice and find?
I don't know. So many questions to be answered.
And that one's not really that important. So
Yeah.
what else happens? So Tony or Cap. Okay, so Cap probably ends with the Space Stone, yeah? No. What do you think he ends on? Does he end on the Space Stone and that's when he gets together with Peggy?
Must be.
You think? What was the date? Oh, Lord.
July 1997. July, like,
When they're dancing?
dancing.
Yeah, when Cap and Peggy
Oh,
are
that
dancing.
date. Oh, I don't know. Well, because at the end of Captain America,
Yes.
First Avenger,
Yes.
he said, Peggy, I'm going to have to postpone our dance.
Yes.
So I think that was a little bit after.
Yes.
The thing is, Peggy hasn't really aged.
I'm going to have to get a rain check on that dance.
Yeah, that's what I said. Because,
Look at us. We're just the Quote Brothers.
yeah, we speak fluent movie quotes.
Yes, we do.
Because Peggy never really ages from like 1945
Yeah,
to 70. She's like the same age somehow.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell that. You know what I'm saying? But then is it Civil War? Or not Civil War, but Winter Soldier, she's 100. Or Civil War, she's 100.
I'm just following Cap's journey through time. So he probably goes to the earliest, right? 2014, puts back the Soul Stone, which would have been really awkward, and then puts back the Power Stone, and because both of those are in 2014. Then he goes back to 2012, puts back all three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
puts back two.
Mm-hmm. Two, the time
Then,
and the.
then he goes
mind.
to Thor Dark World, puts back, what's it called? The Ether.
No, okay, that's 2013. So it was
Okay,
the
so he does
Ether
that first.
and Mjolnir.
Yes. Then
And
he
then
goes
to New York, drops
puts
the two off.
two off, and then he has to go back to 1960,
70?
70, whenever Tony was born.
70.
Because you get that, right? That's the day. That's why he remembers this is his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Because his wife's expecting. Remember, he's like, I don't know why, but this is... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they go back there, right? So he puts that stone back. Does he stay in that time and reintroduce himself to Peggy then? And then they have a life together? Or does he go back, survive the crash somehow, and then have a life with Peggy? That's the question.
Or he could wait till he hits the ice and just pops up. But I don't know how he would have got there if he's in the 70s. Unless he used the Space Stone. But I don't think you can use it like that, can you?
Well, he can just jump through time. Remember, they just set the shit on their watch and go.
Oh, you're right.
So he can just boop and go back.
I think that's what he did then.
You think?
Mm-hmm. He could have stopped for more Pym particles in that 1970.
Oh, he doesn't need that. I mean, Hank Pym is back alive at the end of the movie, so he can make him fucking billions
That's
of
true.
Pym particles. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I need to see that timestamp when he's dancing with Peggy.
I don't think it did the time.
Maybe it's on the car. Maybe there's a secret little... Someone can break down what year that car is, because I want to know. Because I think he just reintroduced himself in 1970 because they look older. They look like... But that could be like 10 years in the future when they have a house and, live together. I'm curious. Well, like the Russos have said, this is something that potentially could be explored.
Like I said.
Like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
A new
do
Avengers.
I have another thing? Captain Marvel. Do you think
Alright,
she's
next question.
Do you think she's OP? Okay, next question.
I mean, Thanos literally knocked her out of the movie, so.
Dude, he did. He fucking punched her to oblivion, never to be seen again.
But she was at the funeral. But
By the way, her outfit at the funeral was weird as hell.
black pantsuit.
Yeah, but she's like, her legs are so long. So she's just like, she looked like an alien. She looked like Groot, dude.
She was probably wearing heels too, so.
And they were like, what do you call it at the bottom? Like parachute pants or like
boot cut.
Yeah, boot cut. So like, you know what I mean? It made her look like an alien. She looked weird. Which I guess she's human.
She's human.
She's human.
That was the whole message of.
I got it.
Captain Marvel.
I got it. She don't have blue
Captain
blood.
Karen. Because her haircut.
Oh yeah. Did you see that meme on iFunny? It was like me as a waiter, and when I forget her order, and then it just like did that. You know that like new like horror movie theme.
Yeah.
It was Karen popped up. I was like,
it was Us, the Us theme. I think.
Is that theme?
That's a really good theme.
Fucking
dude.
scary,
That's
dude. It gets you. It like comes up the back of my neck whenever I hear it. I'm like, oh,
it's good though.
That movie has got to be nuts, right? We should watch it together. We should do it. Let's do it. We're doing that. He said, "I don't."
We gotta do our Nacho Libre commentary.
All right, I got it. If this episode gets to a certain amount of downloads, we'll do it. How many?
Do a what?
If this episode gets to a certain amount of downloads, we'll watch Us.
Okay.
Which we both are not too thrilled about because it looks scary as shit.
Yeah. I mean, how many do we usually get an episode?
About 100, 170.
Okay.
So let's say 200. 200. We'll watch Us. Okay. Let's see. What else do you want to talk about? I'm trying to think.
Who do you think the new leader of the Avengers will be?
I don't think there's gonna be like an Avengers coalition anymore.
At all?
Not at all, but I don't think for a few.
So
movies.
You think they're gonna stay away from the?
I think if anybody, it'll be Black Panther.
That's what I was gonna say.
I think they're. Sam is just not a strong enough character to do that.
Well, it depends on what they do with him in the next coming years, if he can become a leader.
I thought they were. I thought, you know, remember when Cap's sitting there on the bench and he has a bag next to him, and it turns out it's the shield.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was going to be super soldier serum in there, and they were going to make Sam a real Captain America, not one in name.
Well,
and
I think
title,
that would have been because that's not what makes you Captain America.
I understand that.
I mean? So,
I understand that, but I think Sam has some of the same traits as Cap. Not nearly as many or as strong, but he does. You know what I mean? There's a reason they're friends. They're why they're pals. You know.
So do you think Marvel will do a big bad next or a bunch of small guys?
I think. Well, I mean, who else is there? Who's the next big bad?
Galactus. I also heard, I don't know his name, but the guy, the time travel thief. I don't know. He's got a weird name. But in the comics, he's the master of like time travel or something.
Get this.
And so since the Avengers mess with the timeline, he's coming to fight him.
Get
you
this.
Know what I'm saying? Like, you messed stuff up for me, so grr.
They make their own.
Make their own. Oh, bad guy? So like an Ultron or something like that?
Ultron wasn't their own?
Okay, you're saying like Russo's create a bad guy.
I think the Russos are pretty much done.
Oh, you want a Fish Mooney. That's what you want.
I do not want a fucking Fish Mooney, which, by the way, she's a character. She's not fake. They just took some liberties with her. They just pushed her a little too far.
I thought that's what you're.
That's what I mean. I mean, don't use the source material.
Yeah, could throw people off.
I mean, shit, they're still making comics.
That's true.
Just hit up a boy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hit up a comic book writer. Get a whole bunch of them in a room and be like, we need a new big bad. And we want to tell this story, I'm sorry for you guys, but not through the comics, but through the movies. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you guys are more than welcome to write supplementary comics about this character or
it's just more
adjacent.
It's more work for them, comic book artists, so I don't think they would get mad.
Also, it would be interesting. It would be a new, you know? And I think a Galactus could be cool, but I think it would be really cool to see where they go with a new big bad. Because up to this point, they've had to mold their villains to their stakes. Do you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, Thanos has been completely molded into a different type of character for the
movies compared to the comics. Yeah.
Exactly. The rules and stakes set out by the previous movies. Well, so if they build a character based on what the movies are, then I think they could go in endless possibilities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, his means in like the comics were, you know, his obsession with death. Yeah. Like he's fallen in love with death, and that was like his main goal to collect all the stones.
Yeah, and death was like a legitimate
being in the character. Yeah, she was a woman.
Yeah.
That he's like fallen in love with, and this is just overpopulation,
which is adjacent, right? It's not a complete departure, but it's molded. It's different. It's shaped. Yeah. You know, balance.
All right, that's what we're doing next episode. Instead of like a for debate or anything, we're gonna come up with our own big bad for the Marvel universe and what their mission is.
Fuck. Okay. The writers at Marvel are fucking genius, by the way. Did you see how they were like, they said, so everyone was like, when they came out with Phase 3, you know, you got certain parts of society, they switched to Civil War, and everybody's freaking out. And then they drop Infinity War and Infinity War Part 2, right? And everyone's like, oh my god, they're going to fight Thanos. And I remember thinking, leading up to it, I was like, it's going to be a big fight. They're going to have everybody. I thought it was going to be in space. You know what I mean? I thought they were going to give all the Avengers, like, spacesuits. And you were going to see Captain America, like, flying through space, like, punching shit. And like, Age of Ultron, right? Because that's the movie we were left with. And I didn't think they were going to go any deeper than a villain and punching that villain, right? And then the writers went, nah. Okay, we're going to get you very little punching the villain scenes. It's more character development and, you know, high stakes and these little battles between characters and, you know, these emotional moments between Gamora and Thanos and Thanos and Tony and stuff like that. And there are fights in there, but they're not these huge epic scale battles.
Game of Thrones-esque.
I don't know if I'd say it turned out more Game of Thrones-esque, because Game of Thrones is all about the intrigue, and then there's like a big battle scene.
Well, I mean, like Winterfell, for instance, is like the biggest one ever. No, I'm saying like if you're expecting that kind of fighting,
yeah, and then they went, okay, Infinity War Part 1, we're gonna show that the characters can't fight him. You know what I mean? We're gonna let him get his wish, and then the second one, they're gonna go. We don't want them just fighting Thanos to get the stones back, right? They said we have this character that's so incredibly larger than life, unbeatable, strong. You know what I mean? And they just kill him in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like that changes the whole stakes whatsoever. So much so that they're waiting 5 fucking years to figure out how to fix it. It's like genius. You know? It's good. It's really smart. It's really good, and it makes and then you get the fighting that you want. You know? And it has so much more meaning, and like it's so much more satisfying.
Yeah.
Because you get to see 100,000 people versus 100,000 people. And they just whoosh. So, I don't know. They did a good job. All right. What do you think goes on from here? We'll talk about the big bag next week. So, but what do you think is happening now? Like, what do you think Phase 4 is all about?
I think it's going to be... I think they're going to try to introduce a lot of new people. They're going to focus on Black Panther, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man.
Okay.
And then, you know, they'll have all the TV show launches. I think eventually they'll make like a all-woman team.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Makes sense. They've already shown that off.
Maybe a Young Avengers led by Spider-Man. You know, with Hawkeye Jr. and Ant Girl, you know, like them. The pre-existing guys. Potentially Namor.
Ooh. Yeah, the
they
earthquakes.
kind of alluded.
Yeah, the earthquake underwater.
Underwater, yeah.
What if it was just Namor was swimming around fixing shit under? That'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
I think
the Asgardians is gonna be good.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think they're gonna go. I think they know that they've done this, right? They've spent 10 years, and they're like, I think Kevin Feige is smart enough to know that they need to do the same but different. So they need to change something radical while also keeping the formula, like Coke, for example. You remember when they made new Coke and it just went dog shit, and then they brought Coke back, right? And it's like the formula is good, okay? You just gotta brand yourself, to stay consistent, and now Coke is one of the biggest. It's the same thing. It's like the formula works. Now we got to change it just a little bit. We got to rebrand it. We got to repackage it so that it's still interesting. And I think what they're going to do, and you kind of just gave me this idea right now with the Young Avengers, is I think they're going to focus less on this huge ensemble kind of thing and more on breaking up different Avengers, because that's kind of what they do in the comics. Like there's different groups, right? So I think there could be like the New York Avengers, you know, and you got like Spider-Man and Mysterio maybe if he turns good, you know, and then you got like
Miles Morales,
Doctor Strange, like those guys, those New York focused guys, right? And then or Doctor Strange could be like and fuck off up into the cosmics, and there could be a cosmic Avengers with Asgardians of the Galaxies and, you know, all the Asgardians. And the Asgardians are
you're thinking like
down
Korg and
but
Valkyrie maybe.
But Valkyrie's taking care of Asgard.
That means she still can't fight. Odin still led battle.
So I think they're gonna like separate, and we're not gonna have Avengers movies. They're gonna be Avengers, and then it's gonna be like the team name. You know what I mean? And like what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's like A-Force, New Avengers, Young Avengers, maybe stuff like that.
But I think they'll make their own.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna. Yeah.
Spruce it up.
Like just like the Avengers. I mean, if you look at an Avengers cover, and then you look at the Avengers Assemble scene, not many of those characters are on the cover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're still called the Avengers, and they are all Avengers.
Yeah.
But it's not your main squeeze, you know? Normally you got a whole section of X-Men in the corner, you know? So, yeah, I think they're going to go crazy with it, and I think we're going to get a bunch of smaller movies. That, oh, man, I don't know if they're going to get right back into building a big bad.
I don't think so
they're
either.
going to.
I don't think so either. Let this one cool.
Have you heard about? I don't want to spoil it for you, but have you heard the plot of the new Mortal Kombat 11 story at all?
I've watched some videos, but I haven't really paid attention to the story.
So basically, Kronika, right, has been meddling with the entire Mortal Kombat world, and she set up everything that happened in the past. So like when Quan Chi came back and all these like big bad characters, that was her doing. But they all failed. So now she's like, all right, fuck it. I'm coming out of retirement to fix what my people couldn't do.
Right.
You know? And I feel like Marvel might go somewhere down there where there's some huge big bad that's been just picking with it the whole time. And he's going to be like, all right. Kind of like I'll do it myself. And he grabs the Infinity Gauntlet. Kind of like that. But on a bigger scale, like, well, Thanos sucked ass, and he didn't work.
Right.
So, and I'm kind of sad that might be the last time we see something of that grandiose ever again.
From Marvel or in general?
In general. Well,
I mean,
no one
I'm
else
sure
is
DC
doing
will
it.
try. They have Darkseid.
Glad they haven't used him yet.
No, that's very good.
I didn't like that they used Steppenwolf in Justice League, but man, I'm glad they didn't ruin it by using Darkseid.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if they build it correctly and give it some time, I think they could use Darkseid potentially. Which it's going to be very similar to Thanos. I think it's instead of half the population, I think it's all. Because he's looking for the anti-life equation. Is the whole thing. Darkseid, that is.
Yeah. Huh. Do I want to see that? That's what I was thinking. That's what was running through my head right there.
Yeah.
I think, I do. It's a different set of characters.
Yeah.
Different.
Back to the Spider-Man.
Yes.
Far From Home stuff.
Yes.
In the trailer, they said Jake Gyllenhaal's character is from Earth, but not our Earth. Because they said the snap opened up alternate dimensions or multiverse.
That's in the trailer?
Yeah. But I don't think that's real.
If that is real, that's
I think that'd be too much for the what's it called? I think so.
Yeah, in 2008 you would have said Infinity War or Endgame would have been too much. To be fair,
That's
if
not
you would
as
have known
complicated as multiple dimensions, though.
You're not wrong. But man, if they do it though, I would be so proud of them.
Because in the trailer, it's Jake Gyllenhaal is talking, and then Nick Fury says, "This is whatever his name is, Jake Gyllenhaal," and he says he's from Earth, just not ours. The snap opened up a multiple dimensions or whatever. And he says multiverse, but I think that's him telling Nick Fury, Jake Gyllenhaal telling Nick Fury
that he's from another dimension.
That he's from another dimension. Because
we shall see. Man, I'm so excited for Far From Home now.
What's the gain from there being multiple dimensions? Because you have Mysterio, you got you could get like Spider-Gwen or the other Peter Parkers, but Miles Morales already exists in this universe.
You know what gains?
What?
You could get the X-Men from Fox. You could get Into the Spider-Verse characters. You could do something like that.
Yeah. I think that's just too easy.
That is too easy.
Just be like, just open a portal and just X-Men walk out like, hey, we're from another dimension. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like
Well, what about your dimension now? Now that you're gone, what happens there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that opens up. So you think it's all a ruse that he's just saying that just to say that?
Like, I think I told you, I think he's a bad guy, but not
really bad guy.
You're a bad guy, but you're not a bad guy. Yeah.
You're the antagonist,
yes.
but you're not the worst.
He's doing everything for the wrong reasons.
I really want him to be like, I don't know if there's a precedence for this for his character, but I really want him to be like in cahoots with Spider-Man. That would be freaking cool.
In cahoots?
Yeah, just that they're pals.
Well, I think, okay, so Iron Man is dead, obviously.
Yes.
And everyone's mourning him, especially Spider-Man.
Yes.
And Spider-Man is looking for that figure that Iron Man was. And he takes it up with Mysterio. Mysterio uses that as an advantage over Spider-Man.
I mean, that sounds...
And he tells him everything, like...
Sounds like good writing.
There's this girl I really like, MJ. And then Mysterio's like,
Writing this down. Ooh, what does she look like?
Your aunt's name is what now?
What does she look like exactly? So I can make a
you know Zendaya? Yeah, her.
So I can make a hologram of her, like, you know,
exactly,
kissing Ned or something. So you get pissed off.
Yeah, and also it's kind of convenient. It's like all the Spider-Man characters got dusted.
They might explain that. They might talk about that.
What?
They might talk about that.
No, I'm saying, like, because it was 5 years after the first snap. And
Man, the 5-year thing really, like, threw a wrench.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, because Peter and Ned went back to school.
No, I totally get what you're saying.
But the kids that are in their class were 5 years younger than them, but now they're the same age.
Well, they all got snapped.
No. All the characters from Spider-Man, but not all the kids that were in that school.
Oh, I get you. I get what you're saying. So it's just they have to explain, or they don't have to, I guess, if they don't want to. But like, it'd be nice if they explained why all of them got snapped. Do you know what I mean?
It was just random, like people got snapped.
So it just so happens that the whole cast of
that's what I'm saying.
Spider-Man
like even Aunt May got snapped. They came out and said that.
Have they come out and say that the whole cast of Spider-Man got snapped?
Well, they're all in the movie together and they're same age in high school.
I think it would have been cool to have like Flash be like
5 years older.
Yeah,
but on a high school field trip. Yeah.
No. Just fucking have him fuck off.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And him be like in college.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, there was no academic institution when the snap happened, so he's like, you know, what if they just all went back to college or all went back to high school as these old people? Like Flash is like 22 and he's like just sitting in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. He should go to the shawarma dude, or the guy he gets the sandwich from in Homecoming. You know what I'm talking about? Like the little shop he goes to, and that dude should be like 5 years older. And he's like, "What happened to you, man?"
Yeah. Wait, didn't he die?
I don't know.
Because his shop got blown up.
Oh, is that why he gets
bank
pissed?
robbers? I think so.
Is that why? Well, damn. I just thought one survived. Is that new?
This?
You had that for a
No,
while?
I had it.
That's right. Did you change the band?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you. Do you change it to match what you're wearing?
No.
Okay. Good.
Actually, this is the one it came with. Usually I have one I wear to work.
Okay.
It's like an OtterBox one. For I don't break
Got
it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I have anything else to say.
I don't think so.
I think we've beat that horse to death.
Mm-hmm. Because we kind of missed a week, so catching up to do.
Yes. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Next week.
Detective Pikachu.
Yep. Yay. I don't know, man. It hasn't been getting great reviews.
I don't think it's there for reviews.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I agree that I think reviewers will probably be pretty rough on it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Ryan Reynolds doesn't have a great track record. He's got one good movie.
Yeah, basically.
I'm sure he has more than that, but
One, like, really rewatchable one, so.
yeah. All right. We shall see.
Yes.
If you want to send in any theories or future ideas of what you think is going to happen in the MCU, you can send us a email at critically average, or you can go on Twitter at podcastaverage.com.
Yep.
Or .com at podcastaverage. And I think I forgot to plug all the shit at the
You
beginning.
did, but.
So, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Castos, all of the above. Just search us.
Mhm.
And Patreon as well.
Is that all good to go now?
Yep.
Cool.
So, yeah. Alrighty.
Sweet.
Catch you guys next week.
All right.
Yep.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.